Man, what a twist! Let me not want to murder my husband, but hey, I'm just kind of curious. How much would you pay to, like, take him out? Give him an Oscar, but not really. So this is from Unseen. 30-year-old thinks he got away with sister's murder. Well done.
I want you to start CPR, okay?
No, I know for a fact that she's dead because
Do you want to go ahead and try? It might still help, okay?
No, I don't think it'll help. No, I don't think it'll help.
This is 13-year-old Paris Bennett. He is refusing to perform CPR on his 4-year-old sister.
Why?
The 911 operator pleads with him to try to save his sister's life. But the real reason the older brother is not cooperating is because he is hiding the most disturbing secret. 5 hours before the 13-year-old called 911, Ella was living a peaceful, happy life with her older brother and their single mother, Charity Bennett. The two siblings were each other's best friends. The big brother was always looking out for his little sister, often watching her while she slept and protecting her with all of his love. The little girl looked up to her big brother and trusted him with all her heart. But on the night of February 4th, 2007, everything changed.
Is it out of jealousy, maybe? Like, it is a single mom situation, so the kid could feel like the baby sister's having a lot more attention than he was. Because I feel like he was a bit rough on the kid. I mean, he is a child himself, but he does seem a bit more rough around the baby than should be.
That evening, the children's babysitter left early while their mother was still at work, leaving the 4-year-old and the 13-year-old home alone.
Why would the babysitter leave early?
At 11:42 p.m., 911 received the most disturbing call from the big brother.
Is she bleeding anywhere?
Yeah, she's bleeding all over the bed.
As police and medical personnel rushed to the scene, the 911 operator was able to convince the older brother to perform CPR on his sister.
Put your hands on her chest and then blow 2 breaths in her mouth, okay?
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
But the problem is, Paris is lying to the operator. He is only pretending to give his little sister CPR.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Jesus.
The year is 1999, in the quiet town of Abilene, Texas.
That kid's a good ass actor. Like, you would think he's like panicking, but apparently, I guess he's not.
Bennett is raising her son, 6-year-old Paris Bennett. From an early age, Paris shows signs of being gifted and highly intelligent, with an IQ of 141. He excels in school and is adored by his teachers and classmates. To Charity, he is the perfect child, and they are the perfect family. But life hasn't always been easy. Before Paris was even born in 1993, his father suffered a severe psychological breakdown, leaving a young, pregnant Charity to raise a child on her own. Left without a partner by her side and with little support from her own mother, Kyla, Charity stood alone. But instead of breaking, she found courage. She poured everything she had into raising her baby boy, determined to give him the love and stability she never had. In spite of their challenges, things were looking up. Charity and Paris developed a strong, beautiful bond as a family of 2. 4 years go by, and now, an unexpected new chapter is about to begin. The family is about to grow, and this time, with a new baby sister for Paris.
Like, is she still with the husband? Or is it like with someone else?
April 12th, 2002, Ella Bennett is born.
I remember putting Ella in his arms, and he was looking down at her, and I'm like, waiting to see what the reaction was going to be. And he had this huge smile on his face, and he said to me, he goes, "Oh, Mama, she's beautiful."
As her kids grow older, Charity can't help but notice the stark differences between her 2 children. Ella is lively, spunky, social.
Aw, she's so cute.
Up an entire room.
Aww.
Paris, on the other hand, is more quiet and introverted. He often keeps to himself and enjoys his time alone, with reading and drawing as his hobbies. But beneath his calm and independent nature, Paris beautifully embraces his role as an older brother. He loves his little sister with his whole heart, and the 2 become inseparable.
Ella absolutely adored Paris. Anything Paris did, Ella had to do. Paris would pick her clothes out every day. He was her fashion consultant, she said.
Bennett reporting live. This is Ella's Ball reporting live. Ella's Ball Bennett, suspect of the dirty diaper. Okay, creating dirty diaper. Ella.
Charity, now being a single mom of 2 kids, has even more on her plate. She works 2 jobs waiting tables just to make ends meet. The pressure is high, but her one goal is to do everything she can to give Paris and Ella the best life they deserve. Even with her busy work schedule, she dedicates all of her free time to her kids. Life is good for the small family, but things take a disturbing turn on February 4th, 2007. It's Super Bowl Sunday, an exciting and extremely busy night for sports fans. Charity, who works at a local sports bar, is scheduled to work a double shift to keep up with the large number of customers, so she hires a babysitter to look after the now 13-year-old Paris and 4-year-old Ella. The bar is completely packed, and Charity works hard throughout the evening, with just a few hours left until she can clock out and go back home to her kids. But, suddenly, cops walk into the bar and start asking the staff about Charity.
Around midnight, cops are at the front door.
What happened? It seemed like he really did like his sister a lot. Like, what was like the thing that snapped him?
They went to the manager's office. They called my name. They told me that my daughter had been hurt. And I was like, you need to take me to Ella now.
Charity is in a state of shock. They quickly leave the bar, and police escort her home. Her mind is racing. She attempts to stay calm, still not knowing what happened to her children, and specifically, Ella. Charity tries her best to not imagine the worst, but the cops' serious looks, combined with their unsettling quietness, sends a chill down her spine. As they finally arrive, Charity...
Why did the babysitter leave though? Because like, unless they had an emergency, there really is no reason for the babysitter to leave early without, you know, at least informing the parents beforehand.
Charity sees her house is blocked off with caution tape and surrounded by dozens of people.
Police everywhere. News trucks, neighbors. The entire street was lit up.
At that moment, Charity
That
knows something
scared me.
terrible has happened. Unable to be left in the dark for any longer, she pleads with the cops, begging them to just tell her what they seem so afraid to reveal. And that's when her entire world flips upside down. Ella is dead. Charity is at a complete loss as she watches Ella's body being carried out of their family home. The
Jeez.
sight is too much to bear.
She was in a body bag.
Damn, that's kind of...
It was zipped up to her chin. She had blood coming out of her mouth.
I cannot imagine what she's going through. That sounds painful to go through with a parent. Like, seeing your own kid in a body bag. She got, is she an outside cat now? Is she an outside cat now, or is she just like to like escape once in a while?
I started screaming that I was sorry, that I wasn't there. They took her away.
And then I just remember just collapsing.
After seeing Ella's lifeless body, she finally musters up the courage to turn to the detectives and ask, "Where's my son? What happened to Paris?" They tell her Paris is already at the police station, waiting for her. She lets out a sigh of relief hearing that Paris is alive and well. But as she gets into the police car to go and reunite with her son, something feels off. There's a coldness in the air. Anxiously waiting to arrive, Charity's mind is racing with questions.
Do we ever... I know it's like really early in this video, but do we ever get to see why the babysitter left early? Like, what was the reason? Like, I'm not blaming the babysitter whatsoever, but I'm just very curious why they've never mentioned like the babysitter leaving early. I think most babysitters, if they are to like leave early because of like a family emergency or something, they will at least inform the parents beforehand, right? Like I'm not weird about this, am I?
And what's even more disturbing is that deep down, something about this moment feels oddly familiar to Charity, an unnerving feeling history is repeating itself. And that's because 30 years ago, When Charity was only a child, her family was torn apart by murder.
What?
Cobb County, Georgia,
Damn, what a twist!
1980.
What a
Charity was just
twist!
6 years old when her father and mother, James and Kyla, ran a booming trucking empire. They dealt with national shipping and cargo, an industry bringing in billions per year. But behind their seemingly perfect life and success, their marriage was deteriorating. After years of chaos, their volatile relationship ended in divorce, leaving their only child, Charity, caught in the middle of their battles. However, Charity's parents surprisingly reconnected on March 9th, 1980, and decided to fly to Las Vegas, remarrying in a whirlwind ceremony. For a second, Charity hoped their life would find stability once again, but on March 11th, 1980,
But they
just
divorced
3
for a
days
reason.
after they exchanged their vows, her father, James, was found dead in their family home.
Ah.
When authorities arrived on the scene, they noted 3 gunshot wounds to his head, heart, and back. James' murder was clearly a targeted attack, and suspicions immediately fell on the newlywed, Charity's own mother, Kyla. Speculation grew when Kyla's name was put back in James's will after their sudden remarriage, because this meant that if anything happened to him, Kyla would inherit control of the entire company, along with his fortune. Investigators also considered whether his murder was maybe a professional hit tied to organized crime, and from there, the whispers grew louder. Rumors swirled that Kyla had allegedly paid $50,000 to have him executed. Detectives were quick to question her about the murder contract, and Kyla admitted she had asked about it, but claimed it was only out of curiosity, without any other lead.
Sure. Let me not want to murder my husband, but hey, I'm just kind of curious. How much would you pay to like take him out? That's not something you ask with curiosity, bestie. That is the last thing you should be asking about curiosity.
Kyla quickly became their main suspect, and prosecution spent the next 4 months building a case against her before finally taking her to trial. For 11 days, jurors listened to all the allegations and the evidence, or lack thereof, and the verdict came back as not guilty. Kyla walked out of court a free woman. In the eyes of many, she had beaten the odds. The killer was never officially found, and the weapon never recovered. Kyla returned to her life of luxury. Now in complete control of their business empire, she began raising Charity on her own. After her mother's acquittal, Charity grew up haunted by the loss of her father. Everyone around her believed that her own mother was her father's killer, and as much as everyone tried to shield Charity from that possibility, it followed her. Her classmates would taunt her over and over again.
Kids would come up and say,
Yes.
"Oh, I hear your mommy killed your daddy."
Wow. You enough from a kid as well. Yeah, like if anything went to public, especially in court, yeah, it's gonna be rooming around as like the latest rumors for kids, unfortunately.
It was a constant presence in my life.
Meanwhile, at home, Charity felt neglected by her mother. With her father's absence, her mother, Kyla, fell into a lavish and reckless lifestyle, drinking and doing drugs, all while running the family business, leaving no time for little Charity. Kyla continues insisting that she did not murder her husband, Charity's father, and that she had been framed, but it didn't matter what the truth was, because the relationship between mother and daughter remained strained.
Understandable.
As the years went by, Charity focused on her education, eventually graduating from high school with honors. But in spite of her achievements, the love she craved from her mother was still missing. Beneath her calm exterior, she was hiding a secret. The pressure, the loss of her father, and the years of loneliness finally caught up to her, and she desperately looked for a way to silence the noise around her. For the next 4 years, Charity would struggle with an addiction to drugs, but at age 18, she decided to start fighting back and got clean. With a new lease on life, Charity got back on her feet and obtained a university degree in family development psychology. Her quest for purpose grew even stronger when she found out she was pregnant with a baby boy. Then and there, a new chapter had begun. Paris was born, and later, her baby girl, Ella. Even though motherhood gave Charity a second chance, she was never able to fully move on and heal from the trauma she went through as a young girl. The relationship between Charity and her own mom, Kyla, remained complicated, and the pain caused by her father's death
Well is alive. Oh, really? Damn. Man is really immortal.
echoed throughout the years. Now, the same pain is back and stronger than ever. Decades later, on the night of February 4th, 2007, as she kisses Ella's forehead for the last time before the little girl gets taken away in a body bag. Hours after Ella's body is taken away for examination, Charity sits in the back of the cop car and waits anxiously as they pull up to the police station. The tension is palpable, and she doesn't know what to expect. Once they arrive, she is led into an interrogation room, and now, the first time since Ella's death, she sees her son, Paris, standing at the far end of the room.
And when I saw him, the only thing I felt was so happy to see my child. Because he was the only one left. I started hugging him and just cried forever. And then I realized at some point that he wasn't hugging me back.
Oh.
And that's when everything stopped making sense.
Guess he's got guilty conscience.
His toward his own mother and his sister's death
Or
feels
not.
deeply unnerving to Charity. Something is not right at all. As detectives take over and begin investigating, they have no idea how disturbing the crime and Paris really are. That night, at around 10:30 p.m., about 2 hours before the 911 call, the children were at home when Paris suddenly pulled the babysitter aside
Okay, now we get to know what the fuck a babysitter was doing.
and convinced her to go home early, claiming that their mom was coming home sooner than what was planned.
Oh?
And that at 13 years old, he was responsible enough to take care of Ella until she arrived. Both of these things were untrue.
So the babysitter just believed him?
A few minutes later, the two children were left alone in the house.
Buddy, if I was being paid to babysit these two kids, right? And then the teenager is like, oh, mom's gonna come home early so you can just leave. Bitch, please, I'm getting paid. No. At least I would double check with the mom first to double check to say, hey, are you coming home early? Or is it something like that? Like, are you coming home early? What's happening? Why is your son saying this? And one fact check could have thrown his fucking story out of the fucking window. So he's planning this?
Things quickly escalated.
Abilene 911.
Hello?
Why was he planning this?
Abilene 911. Go ahead.
I actually killed somebody.
You think you killed somebody?
No, I know I did. I woke up and I was hallucinating.
You were hallucinating?
Yes, and I thought my sister was a demon and I killed her.
Seemingly frantic and in between tears, Paris appeared helpless to the operator. On the other end of the line, she urged the teen boy to perform CPR, a suggestion he initially resisted, insisting it was too late.
What I want you to do is take her off the bed.
No, I know for a fact that she's dead because
Do you want to go ahead and try? It might still help, okay?
No, I don't think it'll help.
If it's because you stabbed her a million times, then you know she's probably dead. And you don't feel like helping her. He is probably schizophrenic. Could be. But he could also just be a psychopath. Like, there's a possibility he could have been a psychopath as well. The brother. Yeah, I can see what you're getting at. That he was schizo. But I feel like that's more of an excuse than anything else. Like, if you're schizo, you had, like, no control of your environment, right? He literally set this up to a way that she was left alone with him, with no one else to stop him if anything went wrong. He literally lied to the babysitter saying, hey, my mom's gonna come home early. You can just leave. He knew what he was doing. He set that up. I feel like maybe he had some schizo that never got diagnosed. But I do think he was definitely cognitive during the time where he committed that murder. Because, like, don't, like, most, like, generally schizo people who aren't using it as, like, excuse just, like, act without noticing. Like, they don't know what's going around them, they just act. But the fact that he set up a way for him to be alone with her by sending the babysitter early, by lying to the babysitter, makes that theory a bit off. I don't think he's like fully schizo, maybe like a little bit, but I think he is definitely psychotic as well. Especially since his grandmother, like quote unquote, killed someone, like killed his grandfather. So a possibility that it could be, you know, genetics, maybe. Who knows?
Come on, Paris, work with me.
The operator is forced to plead with him as she believed time was running out for the little.
And the fact that he's like unwilling to help his little sister that he grew up with. Like he was so unwilling. He's like, I don't want to do CPR. I don't think it's too late. If I had an episode or something, I don't. But if like all of a sudden I had like if I'm like schizo, quote unquote, and I woke up and my sister's dead, I'm doing everything I fucking can to save her. This guy does not want to do anything to save his sister.
Little girl, but unbeknownst to her, it was already too late.
Paris,
Yes?
take her off the bed and put her on the floor.
Okay, hold on.
What I want you to do is I want you to put your hands on her chest, okay? And I want you to push 30 times. I want you to count.
The operator continued to guide him through the procedure while waiting for the officers to arrive, but once they did, they found Ella lying face down, meaning there were no signs that anyone performed CPR on her.
And the fact that he lied to more people saying he tried CPR, but he clearly isn't, leads me to believe that he's not schizo. He's just psychotic.
The entire time Paris had been on the phone, he had only been pretending. He never actually tried to save his sister's life.
I went to see him that night. I was like, I don't believe you anymore. I think you killed your sister on purpose. All of a sudden, he became a completely different person. It's like he no longer had to keep up this act anymore.
Yeah, he was psychotic. I'm pretty sure he said.
Said, y'all are so stupid. He laughed at me.
Yep, he was like he was psychotic.
Paris always seemed like a gifted, quiet boy and good-mannered child, caring and looking out for his sister. But now, Charity looks back in horror and wonders if there was more than met the eye with Paris, hints of strange behavior, or clues that he could have been capable of something like this.
I mean, he was really rough with it, even as a child.
Parents, what is your problem? People that have had siblings, they tussle, they wrestle. Sometimes you have to pull them apart.
Yeah, but he's like really
95%
rough
of
with
the
her.
time, They got along well.
But despite any issue she had with Paris, she never thought he could ever harm his little sister.
Yeah, he was just psychotic. Probably got it from his grandma. Probably got it from grandma. He probably heard what happened to grandma and got inspired or something.
February 10th, 2007. Ella's funeral is being held at a local church. Family, friends, and members of the community gather to say goodbye.
Bro, the fact that he acted throughout those years, that's just insane. That's just, yeah, he was just born psychotic. Like the fact that he was acting all that years in front of his mom. Like no normal kid would actually do that.
To remember a beautiful little girl gone far too soon.
Wanted to be a singer. I don't really know what to say at a time like this because Ella, she was a pistol, and she always said what was ever on her mind. She brought life into everybody.
The small town of Abilene, Texas, is in complete shock. 4-year-old Ella Bennett's horrific murder made no sense. Charity doesn't know what to do. Not only did she lose her daughter, but her son is the one incarcerated for the murder. While struggling with her grief, all eyes are...
He does look like, I'm sorry, he does look like a Discord mod. Like the Discord mod meme, he does kind of look like it.
are on her. To the community, it was Charity's fault anything like this had ever happened. It
Huh?
was her fault for creating a monster.
I remember people discussing what kind of books did Paris read and what kind of video games did he play. I believe Charity got the brunt of that because even if it's a book that he's reading, well, who got him the book? And even if it's a video game that he's playing, well, who allowed him to play that game?
Like, I get to the point that parents should be parenting, but I think this was way out of her league. Poor girl had to experience her mom kill her dad, and now her fucking child kill her other child. Holy shit, I feel bad for her. Like, do you think she's not depressed already?
Charity took a lot of heat for her situation. People were very cruel to her. She'd be in a shock. Oh, you're the mother that, oh, your son, you know, and
In the midst of the community's criticism, Charity was broken. Her first love, Paris, just took the life of her second love, Ella. She feels as though she's lost both her children, but the reality is, Paris is still alive, and she is still his mother, despite the cruel betrayal. But just like everyone in the town, Charity never saw this coming. Charity needs answers. She needs to know what's wrong with her son.
Yeah, psychopaths are really good at hiding things, yeah. But like, I do get to like the point, oh, maybe the parents should have like watched them better, see the signs. But there are cases where children are just born psychotic. There are just people who are just born psychotic despite like the upbringing they had. Like she literally did everything she could for him. Like getting the babysitter, working 2 jobs to keep food on the table. She literally did everything she could. Her fault. The dad's not even in the picture. Like, it's not her fault that one of her kids just turned out to be psychotic.
To ensure she gets justice for her daughter.
I had a psychopath checklist youth version administered to Paris and then reevaluated. His assessor told me, you deserve to know that your son is a sociopath.
But everything only gets harder once Charity starts preparing for the trial. With her 4-year-old Ella dead and her only living child being the one to take her life, she has to face the fact that by being there for each of her children, she risks failing the other.
When I would go talk to a district attorney, I had to be Ella's mother. When I went to talk to a defense attorney, I had to be Paris's mother. And if I tried to put Paris and Ella together in my brain, I really got close to insanity.
The trial begins nearly a month after the tragic event. The messiness only worsens when she finds herself standing in the middle of the courtroom.
At one point, sat in the middle because I can't choose sides.
I just,
Both
yeah.
my children.
Deep inside, Charity faces the reality that there's nothing she can do to bring Ella back. She realizes that she must make one of the most difficult choices she could as a mother, and in that moment, she chooses to stand by Paris's side, refusing to abandon him. But now, she doesn't see him as the innocent boy she once raised, but as the murderer he has become. He needs to be accountable for his actions, and she decides to love him in a new way, not trying to save him from justice, but making sure he faces it and gets psychiatric help.
After Paris killed his sister, I was not trying to get Paris off.
Yeah.
I wanted to get Paris help.
On August 15th, 2007, after months of trial, Paris pleads guilty to capital murder in juvenile court. He's given the maximum sentence for a juvenile, 40 years.
Ooh.
With Paris now spending most of his adult life in prison, Charity makes a promise.
I told him that I was always going to love him no matter what. And then I also promised him that I was always going to do the best job I could to be his mother.
For as long as Charity could remember, her life had been marked by tragedy, but now she chooses a different path. She chooses to heal by facing the truth.
I'm tired of the history repeating itself. I have been able to forgive Paris for the worst thing imaginable, but I'm never going to be comfortable with it.
Yeah, forgive but not forget.
In order to have my own sense of peace, to have integrity, it's time to stop the pattern.
Now, Charity is determined to support other families going through trauma.
The night that Ella died, I made her a promise that something meaningful would come out of her death.
So I set up the Ella Foundation to prevent violence by sharing our story.
Charity is an advocate for children's mental illness rehabilitation, speaking loudly about getting proper help and support for kids that might be heading down the wrong path due to an unmanaged mental illness. She does everything in her power to make sure that what happened to her family never happens to anyone ever again. Ella's memory continues to heal the wounds of tragedy that defined the Bennetts for nearly half a century, and through Charity's voice, Ella continues to offer a second chance to families who have lost hope in healing.
You're right that it will never bring Ella back, but it does keep Ella alive. I can't change Paris today, but maybe by doing this, I can help with changing somebody else's child.
Damn, she's a lot stronger than I would have been. Holy shit. Yeah, that kid was just psychotic to begin with. Holy god. Damn. I still find it wild that the kid was acting throughout, not only just by his like childhood, but throughout like 13 years of acting like you love your sister when you don't. That's a long ass time to be quote unquote acting. Especially at like at home when you're with your parents and stuff. Or his mom in this case. Like sure she was busy, but like he had to act like basically every single second of every single day for like 13 years. Holy shit. Give him an Oscar, but not really. Give him an Oscar, but not really. Holy shit. I feel bad for Charity. Like the fact that her mom like murdered her dad, and then now her son murdered her daughter. I don't think anyone would have, stand strong with that, because holy shit. Like I would think like I'm the problem if like two people who I know try to kill someone or something like that. Like holy shit, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why is this happening?